Good evening. I'll call to order a regular session of the City Council of the City of Grande, Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. This meeting is being broadcast, streamed live, and all councilors are participating in this session by electronic means. And with that introduction, I'll have a roll call, please.
Steve Clemens.
Here.
Gary Lillard.
Here.
John Bozar.
Here.
David Glabe.
Here.
Nicole Howard.
Here.
Marianne Meisner.
Here.
And Justin Rock.
Here.
All right, everybody is present and accounted for. Any changes to the agenda, Robert, since it was sent out?
No, Mayor.
All right, we have consent agenda with a single item, and that is the regular session meeting minutes from November 3rd. I'll entertain a motion on that unless there's corrections anybody wants to make.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. A roll call vote, please.
Steve Clemens.
Yes.
Gary Lillard.
Yes.
John Bozar.
Yes.
David Glabe.
Yes.
Nicole Howard.
Yes.
Marianne Meisner.
Yes.
And Justin Rock.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Consent agenda passes. Robert, any public comment that needs to be read?
No, Mayor.
All right. We have no public hearings, no unfinished business, one item of new business, and that's approving a grant with Oregon Community Paths Program. Kyle Carpenter, this one is yours. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Mayor, councilors. What you have is an action request to approve or authorize city manager to enter into an agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for a community pathways grant. So this is a program that has come from Connect Oregon, which was the bicycle ped program previously. The intent of the project in itself is to actually hire a consultant to come in, take a look at the infrastructure throughout the city of La Grande relating to multi-use paths. Now, these would be bicycle lanes, they would be walking paths. They don't necessarily have to be connected with roadways, but that's also a piece that they will be looking at. The intent after the consultant sizes up our infrastructure would be to come up with what they have called a critical link project. And the critical link would take the southern part of town, so we're talking about Geckler and South, those areas, South 12th, South 20th, and finding a way to connect those not only to maybe the university, but to the downtown area. The university has a lot of existing infrastructure, so it's been viewed originally as maybe a portion of that critical link project. The city's role would be mainly just coming in and adding our 2 cents and pointing in directions and providing information, which would be a lot of the city's portion of that pay that we have in here. So the grant itself is for $135,000 with a total project cost of $150,000. That puts the city's portion at $15,000, which would mostly be made up through in-kind labor. The results of the project will be plan set up to 30% of a critical link project and a overview of our network for multi-use paths in La Grande. I'll take any questions you have. Marianne?
Yeah, Kyle, if we approve this and we have this study done, does that increase our chances of getting a grant over not having the study done and applying for a grant?
I think it always will, because anytime you have a shovel-ready project, which is what we would end up with, it would help us in the next grant cycle, which is our intention, is to go into the next grant cycle with this critical link project and apply for more funds.
Okay, so if we didn't have it, you wouldn't have it shovel-ready is what you're saying?
Yeah, we would have to, the city itself would have to put up the $150,000 or take on the role of the consultant, which we don't have the expertise for.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary had his hand up, and then we'll go to John.
Yeah, I think basically my question was just answered. I had noticed on the CAF that it indicates that if the final project costs exceed estimates, that the city would be responsible for covering those. I presume we're not too concerned about that, but I was kind of curious as to, if that represented any kind of concern whatsoever.
No, I mean, at this point, the only concern would be is if the consultant came in extremely high, but we're using the state's procurement process. So we anticipate that, they wouldn't approve the project unless they thought that the scoping was pretty good there. In our back pocket, we also have been working with the college and including them in the idea of the Critical Link project. We have access to their engineering division as well, who could help pull in some of those extra costs, although they're not signing on to the agreement, so the liability would be strictly on us.
Okay, thanks.
John?
Yeah, just one question, Kai. I didn't quite catch how much you said was going to be for the consultant of the grant.
We don't know. So the city brings in 10%. 10% is our matching fund. We don't know how much the consultant's going to cost. We did anticipate probably around $100,000 for the complete study and the development of the project documents for the Critical Link project.
So then you have $50,000 left to, that's not going to do much in the way of pathways, is it?
No, and this grant is not for any actual construction or infrastructure whatsoever. It is basically a scoping planning grant. After we get through, we can go in next year when they do the community pathways again and apply for a construction grant, which they would cover again 90% of.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
So, Kyle, I think you mentioned this a little bit, but I seem to recall on the back of my, a while back that EOU was looking at a set of paths of their own. I think they were calling it a community pathway, and I didn't see any detailed plans, but it sounds like you're working with EOU in case they put their path in or they get some money to do it. All of this would be part of that linkage.
Yeah, and this program is strictly open to roadway authorities. So the county, the city are the ones who can apply for the grant funds. Talking with EOU, they already have a good chunk of stuff put together. And we wanted to kind of keep them included. They're this big zone in the middle of our city that if they're not included, we've just got this big area that we're going around. So integrating them into the planning, I think initially looking at it, we're going to form a steering committee and have representatives from the city, college, and the public all come together to work with the consultant to kind of bring in all the different thoughts and aspects of this path and how it'll work out.
Good, thank you. Anyone else? Questions for Kyle? Discussion within the council? If not, we don't have anybody from the public who's going to testify. No written comments on this. Entertain a motion from someone. Oh, Gary, you got your hand up. You're muted.
There we go. I hit the wrong button. I move that we authorize City Manager Robert A. to enter into a cooperative improvement agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for the funding of a planning project under the Oregon Community Pass Grant Program as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Gary, second from Marianne. Any other comments?
Yeah, do we have the funds, the 100 or 15,000 up to 15,000 set in this year's budget for that?
We do.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other questions? If not, ask for a roll call vote, please.
Steve Clemens,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
John Bozar,
Yes.
David Glade,
Yes.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Marianne Meisner,
Yes.
and Justin Rock.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. That finishes business elements of the meeting. Next up is Union County Commissioner updates. And I think I see Commissioner Scarfo here. There he is. Welcome.
Yes, good evening. Boy, you guys are going quick through the agenda. Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. A couple updates for you. Today at our regular county commissioner meeting, the Mirror Apple, the Red Apple project was brought up. There was nearly 2 hours of public comment. There was no decisions made by the commission. We left it in the hands of the Mirror manager, Woodlands, the professional Woodlands gentleman, Chuck Surratt, so they could go back to the Mirror advisory board. They could take more public testimony. They're the professionals, so we left it in their hands to decide on that. The governor, switching topics to the governor, had a meeting with the other chairs in the state. The governor lifted the outdoor mask mandate. When I tell people that, the number one answer is didn't know there was one. But we were the only state that had one, but no longer have to wear masks outdoors. There, she said in a couple of weeks, I think there's a meeting this week sometime with OHA and a couple other groups that she will be meeting with to discuss the indoor mask mandate. I know I think we're one of five states that still has an indoor mask mandate. So we'll see what happens there. We've got a couple of weeks to decide on that. COVID numbers are down, which is fantastic. I know everyone's been seeing that. Hospitalization's doing great. So that's really good. I got some dates and some times for you for vaccinations, December 5th through the 10th. So it is the Sunday through Friday at the fairgrounds from 10 to 5. You could go in and get vaccinated. No registration needed. Go to CHD's website. All that information is there. They're having a vaccine clinic in North Powder on the 8th at the school from 10 to 5. There's the drop-in clinic from 10 to 2 on Fridays at CHD. And testing also at the fairgrounds Tuesdays from 10 to 1 still throughout December. I don't know about the last Tuesday of the month. I'm sorry, last Tuesday of the month, yes. Not sure about that one. The other thing real quick was the governor announced a special session with our legislators to look at the eviction crisis and the issue that we're all going through, all of us are going through, but that the state's going through. And so our legislators will be meeting. Don't know the specifics on it. It's coming up, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Rep. Levy or Senator Hansel yet on this. We just found out yesterday, I believe. But I'm sorry, I went through very quickly. I just got back from taking my son to his after-school program. Do you guys have any questions? I see Councilor Lillard.
Yeah, Matt, I was just wondering that CHD vaccination clinic, does that include the booster shot or just the first two?
No, it does count the booster shot, and I believe they have the shot available for 5 to 12-year-olds as well. If you have any questions, please contact CHD, and it's on their website. I could also forward you the email that Terry Bergiotti sent me today with all the information on it.
So Matt, the fairgrounds, that's a drive-through?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
I did it there, Stephen. It was remarkably efficient. It was fantastic.
Yep.
I've good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I've seen the cars lined up there, and they just come through the barn and do what they need to do, and then they have somebody at a gate holding people up. So, Gary, your hand is still up. Do you have other questions?
No, I'm just
Okay.
up here.
It was very quick. We got our booster there too, and took us. We were home within 20 minutes or half hour or whatever. Very quick.
Okay.
That's the idea. I know when we had that testing clinic, we broke all the records. Yeah, Union County, we're really good at doing what we do when we put our heads to it. So, no, I'm really glad to hear that. A lot of you got through really easy and didn't have to go through that much of a hassle.
And Matt, it's good to hear you talk about things other than COVID. So thanks.
It's getting less and less, and I'm so excited. But who knows that Omicron? I talked to Jeremy Davis today about it. Well, who knows? We'll find out what happens there. Yeah, just no more hospitalizations, no more deaths. I don't wish getting sick on anybody. If everyone just gets a sniffle on this one, I will take that.
Yep.
100%. All
All
right.
right. Anything else, Matt? If not, we'll move on. Thank you very much. Staff comments. I see a number of people here. Staff. Chief Bell.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors. I've just got some positive news I wanted to share with you guys. A week from tomorrow, so next Thursday, we're going to do our 13th annual Shop with a Cop event. It's a great outreach program. Our staff partners with deputies from the sheriff's office and some state troopers and some volunteers. We even have some of our retired staff that will be back participating. And it's a wonderful event. I'm sure you guys all know about it, but we get great community support, and it's a really, really neat opportunity to have positive interactions with some of our youth. So we're going to be doing that next Thursday, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Good, thank you.
Very welcome.
Anyone else? All right, I hope everybody's quiet. City manager comments.
I just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays.
Thank you, you too. And I'll take counselors in the order that I see them, and then I've got a few things to wrap up with. Gary, anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things here. First of all, I just wanted to notify everybody that the senior center is going to begin their in-person dining on December 15th for our elderly population. That'll give them time to do what they need to do, get their materials, the gloves, the plexiglass, and so forth, but they are going to start that up again. So that is good news. I had a couple of things here that I had some questions about. The Max Square issues, we discussed briefly last time, are still an issue. I was just kind of wondering where we're at with that.
Sure. Thanks, Gary. So we did have a meeting with some of the businesses and talked about the letter. Since Chief Bell crafted a letter that's been distributed, council should have gotten a copy of that emailed to you the other day. Our next step is we're planning on having a forum sometime in the coming weeks where we can have an opportunity to hear firsthand from some of the local businesses more directly and provide some additional information. And so we'll certainly let you know when that's scheduled. And so we are moving forward with trying to address some of the issues that were identified and to share some education on things. And Chief Bell, if you'd like to add anything to that.
Yeah, I don't think that I have anything to add per se, Robert. If anyone has any specific questions, I'm happy to entertain those and provide you information. It was a really nice opportunity to meet with the merchants that we did a couple of weeks ago now, and the intent and hope was that the letter would just serve to reassure our downtown property owners and merchants that if they have concerns specifically about private property, I mean, we have a lot of capacity to try to help and respond to those concerns and mitigate those issues, using enforcement if necessary. But the public property remains to be a challenge, and but we're entertaining the discussion, the dialogue we had with the merchants that met with us already. We're open to ideas, if folks have ideas that maybe we haven't thought of. So looking forward to getting together with folks. And I think we're thinking about doing something in one of the downtown locations and having that dialogue as well. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Marion, I see you got your hand up there.
Do you think there's a good understanding of how we have been proscribed from certain actions by the legislature as it applies to public property?
In fairness, Gary, I don't think so. And I respect that. I don't think that a lot of, community members necessarily pay close attention to court decisions or legislative actions unless it specifically affects their life somehow. And so I think that this is very appropriate for us to be able to share the information that we know and try to make sure that people understand factually what the circumstance is and what our ability, to impact this is, and dispel concerns that, we're just not doing anything. And that absolutely is not the case. We have to follow the rules that we're provided. And I just want to make sure that we share that information. And it may not be what, I totally respect and get the frustration. But but we still need to share that information. And if people, have concerns or questions to clarify on that, then we're happy to provide that information to them. It's very important. And that's why I think, Gary, is the important piece here, is to make sure that people understand the difference between what we can do with private property versus what we can do with public property. And that is important to make sure that people understand. And we need folks to call us, so that we can help with any issues that they may be experiencing on their private properties.
Mary Ann?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is the warming station open yet?
I think it is.
It
I know
is. Yeah, it is, Mary Ann. I'm aware that the warming station is, honestly, it's just like all of the other organizations, our fire departments, and volunteerism is really suffering right now. And it's been going this way for a while, but that's, we're looking for people to sit on city commissions and other volunteer posts. And, civic engagement is as important today as it ever has been. And I know that they have been struggling to get volunteers at the warming station. So, but they are open.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Gary?
Yeah, I have one other thing for Robert, and it may be too early to even address this because we just did get the questions about the B2H and an apparent adjustment to the Morgan Lake site boundary, as well as some noise monitoring they were doing.
Yeah, I was looking at that today. I got all of the attachments that Jim Kreider had. I haven't had a chance to go through them. I got those from him this afternoon. I'm going to take a look at that. And then I'll also be talking to Kyle about some of his specific questions, and we'll follow up.
Okay, thanks. That's good, Steve. Thank you.
Okay. Nicole, anything?
Just a quick note from the Chamber Tourism Committee. You probably know Susanna's leaving the chamber for other pastures. So I imagine there'll be some kind of search. But the committee she sort of put a bow on it on the way out. So there is a new grant application that is in place now, and it's a lot clearer. It's got a much clearer rubric. So I think in another month or so, we'll start promoting that and see what local groups are interested in applying for those funds. So I think I wish she were staying on, but she did a great job while she was there.
Thank you. Justin?
I'm good this evening.
Okay, thank you. Mary Ann?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that Friday night at 5:00 is the holiday parade and tree lighting at Max Square. And that following, I know the choir is the high school choir will be there, and they're going to be singing. And I just wanted to give a shout out that tonight the Rotary Club was decorating Max Square, and that the Lions Club helped get up, they help check out the angels and snowflakes that are supposed to go up this week also, if Tyson gets it done. I mean, he's the one who's going to be doing it through Zipley. So, and of course the OTEC. And the Christmas tree yesterday is really big. It's the biggest one we've had, according to John, and I think it's about the same size as a light pole. Is it a flagpole? Excuse me. I mean, it is big. I had to go out and get some more lights for it yesterday because they didn't have enough. So it's going to be nice.
Yeah, I saw them putting it in yesterday, and I thought,
Yeah,
that's a tree to challenge the Capitol tree in Washington.
yeah. Right. Well, John Howard did a great job. That's his job. He gets the tree and gets it in there.
Well, it's a good one. It's
Yeah.
a good one. Anything else, Marianne?
Nope.
Okay. John?
Oh, I'm good, Steve. Thanks.
Okay. Dave?
Just a quick update. We had an airport advisory meeting this week, and the project that's been, months in undertaking is about 99% complete by their report. We're just going to finish up some signage and things, and did come in a little bit under budget, which is always a good thing. And so they're, kind of looking at some future projects out there. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. Very good. So I'll wrap this up for the regular session. I wanted to mention that Robert and I participated in a meeting with the Blue Mountain Conference Center Foundation. The foundation is, some of you may or may not know that management of the conference center has been turned over to Oregon Military Department and is no longer in the chamber's hands. But there were some funds left over in the foundation, and the foundation decided that it would use those funds to make some changes to the facility up there. So the meeting that we attended, we looked at the changes, and I think, Robert, it's fair to say that we weren't overly impressed. And we asked for some more detail on what they did and what it cost. And after we get that, we'll meet again and have another conversation about what to do with the rest of the resources. There's not much left. I think it's fair to say that at some point in the near future, the foundation will dissolve, and because it no longer has a function to fund or provide resources to the conference center. So Tuesday, was it? Yes, it was yesterday morning, because it was very early. But over the last month and a half or so, I've made an effort to reach out to our fire and police officers. And yesterday we finished, Justin was out on a run, but he was there the week before, finished up with our police officers. It was well worth getting up at 6 o'clock or at 5 to be there at 6 to meet with the police officers. They were very appreciative. It was great to meet all the guys that are serving our community. It was great to meet with the fire people. And it really brings to my mind some of the things we need to talk about in our retreat in January. The other thing that, and Dave and I and Justin talked a bit about this, I know that there's a legal barrier between the council and the department directors, but I really think that it would be valuable to members of the council to periodically meet with directors one-on-one, informally, not in, it doesn't have to be a formal meeting. Go out to breakfast, go out to lunch. Robert could be there because it gives you an opportunity to hear what they're dealing with operationally and with their staff. We learned a lot about the police and fire operations. We also did the dispatchers, and it was very worthwhile for me personally to be able to thank all those people for what they do. In our meeting yesterday, Chief Bell mentioned something that was quite disturbing to me, and that the governor had decided to release back into our community a fairly violent criminal. I don't know the full story about it, but it was enough to prompt me to email Senator Hansel and Representative Levy and request that when the governor has those kinds of decisions to make, that she at least give us a heads up. I knew nothing about this. Chief Bell didn't know anything until the decision had been made. I don't know what the circumstances were, but I did get a response from Representative Levy's office asking if I would like to be in a meeting with the governor the next time they talk about these things, and I'm going to agree to do that. I don't know if we're going to face anything like that again, but I wish I knew why you would release somebody back into a community, unless the jails are overcrowded, prisons need to be, bodies need to be reduced. I don't know, but there needs to be something a little bit, there needs to be more communication between the governor's office and our community. So the last thing I want to bring up, and it was positive to hear what Matt said, that there'll be some consideration of indoor mask mandates. I'd really like to see us get back into in-person meetings. I'm even willing to do that if we have to wear masks. But if sometime between now and Christmas, the decision to lift the indoor mask mandate is made or concluded, I'd like to see our January meeting face to face. If we can do it with, if you're all agreeable to do it with masks, I say we get back in there and sit at the dais. Dave and I talked about this the other day. He's been on council now. He will be on council for 12 meetings, right? January through December. He's met face to face once. And I think that's a shame. He misses that opportunity of the in-person interactions that we have. So talk a little bit more about it as information comes out of the governor's office. So the last thing I'll say is this: we are adjourning to an executive session immediately after this meeting. This Zoom session will close, and you should have a link to the executive session meeting. Now, Robert, are you gonna administer that Zoom session?
Yeah, I'll do that. And Sandra will also be attending as the city recorder.
Okay, so we'll try to do this pretty quick. As soon as this meeting closes down, and Brent's going to close it down, close this Zoom session on your own, and then try to find that link for the executive session. And we'll see you hopefully not much later than 6:35 or so, which is about 4 minutes. All right. Good night. I'm adjourning the meeting, and hey, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all.